Hey everybody, and welcome to or back to my channel, My Kind of Stuff. And today is my favorite video to film every month, and that is my TBR game, and we are playing for the month of June. So if you're new to my channel and don't know what my TBR game is, it is a board game style TBR game that I made called Love is in the TBR. We roll a dice, we move that number of spaces, we have X's, O's, hearts, and kisses. Um, the prompts are kind of different depending on the space we hit. We have easy, medium, hard, and the kiss of death spaces send us all the way back to the beginning of the board. So we like to try to avoid those. If we land on a kiss of death, not only do we move back to the beginning, we also have to spin a spinner wheel of all of our active series and continue on with whatever series it picks for us. I will also make sure I link my playlist down below. I have been playing this game on my channel since last August. And I've been having a whole lot of fun with it. So, that being said, let's hop into our first roll and see what we get.
Roll 1. A 1. A romance.
All right. So, our first roll, we rolled a 1. Not very much progress, but we got an X prompt, and the prompt is a romance. Obviously, a really easy prompt for me. I read quite a bit of romance. I think for this one, I am going to pick Picture Perfect by Tessa Bailey because I have an arc on NetGalley for it. And this will force me to read it because I'm really bad at reading my NetGalley arcs. And this is one of the last ones I have left. I believe this book comes out in the fall. I want to say August. But in this one, it is book 4 of the Big Shots series. So they're all interconnected standalones, and they are all sports romance. So in this one, we are following Robbie, who he is a rookie on a hockey team. And then we are also following Skylar, and she is a pitcher on a Division 1 women's softball team. She's kind of known to be a super badass. She doesn't take anyone's bull. Robbie, however, is just a like super filthy playboy. She wants nothing to really do with him. She has her eyes set on somebody else who happens to be her brother's best friend. Robbie can't except that he wants her. He's got his eyes set on her. So he's going out of his way to kind of prove her wrong about him, that's not who he is. They end up fake dating at one of her family's events. It sounds like it's a some sort of like a wilderness competition that her family holds. So he's going with her to be her fake boyfriend for that, because her brother's best friend will be there and she's trying to like make him jealous, sort of. So, of course, obviously, sparks are going to fly and they're going to fall in love while they're fake dating. But I cannot wait. I've had a lot of fun with these books, some of them more than others. The very first book in this series was one of my all time favorite Tessa Bailey books. So, yeah, really excited to check this book out, and this will hopefully force me to read it. All right, let's hop into our next roll and see what we get.
Roll 2. A 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. An O. A TBR takedown pick.
All right, our next roll, we rolled a 4, which gave us an O prompt, and the prompt is a pick from my TBR takedown episode. So I'm actually just filmed this morning my spins for that, so perfect timing. The book that we will be reading for this prompt is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I am obsessed with this cover. It's so pretty. It is set in like a small Scottish island. We are following an author named Grady. His wife ends up like going missing off the side of a cliff. They don't find her. She's presumed dead. Years later, he's still like overcome with grief and he needs to get his life back on track. So he travels to this little island and all of a sudden he starts seeing a woman who looks like his missing wife. So this sounds really interesting. I love a Scottish or Irish type setting. Um, and the sounds just kind of like creepy and suspenseful and tense, and I'm really excited to get into it. All right, let's jump into roll number 3.
Roll 3. Ooh, a 2. 1, 2. Another X. A standalone.
All right, so roll number 3, we rolled a 2. We got an X prompt, and the prompt is a standalone. So for this one, I am going to be reading one of my most highly anticipated books of the year, and that is The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. This book came out, I believe, last month, but I was kind of putting it off because I got this beautiful Owl Crate edition, and I am just like obsessed. It's so pretty. It's so cool. The inside has like buffaloes on the front, but then on the back cover, it's like the skeletons of the buffaloes. Um, this is a historical fiction horror. We are kind of reading a story told by a Lutheran priest who transcribed the life of a vampire who was haunting the fields of the Blackfeet Reservation. So this story is kind of told in like a diary and transcribed interviews sort of form. There was this huge massacre on the Blackfeet Reservation, and there was this like one lone survivor, I believe, named Goodstab, and he was going to confessionals and talking about the things that happened during this massacre. And this is written by the perspective of the priest who was listening to his confessions. So it sounds really interesting, but also historical horror doesn't always work for me. So I'll be interested just to kind of see, but it just sounds so unique and interesting. And I generally love Stephen Graham Jones writing. I know he's not for everybody. Um, this just sounds so unique, and I'm really excited to give it a try. All right, let's get into our next roll.
Roll 4. A 2. We're getting really low numbers. A heart prompt. Unhaul a book.
All right, so roll 4. We rolled another 2. We got a heart prompt, and the prompt is to unhaul a book. This is a new prompt that I added back in January when I kind of reset the game and took out some prompts and added some new ones just to more closely fit the books that I had on hand physically. And I don't think we've gotten that prompt before. So interesting, kind of neat that we got it. The book I'm going to be unhauling is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I don't know. She's I think just not the author for me. This book got way too overly political. It tried to do too many things. It just gave me the ick all around. It was just not the book for me. So I will be seeing if anyone in the Love and Horror Discord wants this book. If you're not part of the Discord but want to join, the link is down below. We do our book clubs through there. We do buddy reads. We hang out and chat about crafting and games, and we just have a lot of fun over there. So if you want to join, again, link is down in the description below. So I will be seeing if anyone wants the book on there, and if not, I'll probably put it up on my Pango. But yeah, unhauling a book. All right, let's hop into our next roll.
Roll 5. A 1. Another X. A new release.
Our next roll, we rolled a 1. We are really getting all the low numbers this game, so we're not making much progress. We landed on an X prompt, and the prompt is a new release. I mean, I feel like everyone can probably guess what June new release we are going to be reading for this prompt, but it is Caught Up by Navessa Allen. Obviously, I don't have a physical copy yet because this book doesn't come out until June 10th. However, I am so excited to read it. This is book 2 in the Into the Darkness series. Book 1 was Lights Out, and that was by far and beyond one of my favorite rom-coms ever. It was so good. I had gotten an advanced audiobook copy of it through NetGalley and was just blown away. It was so good. So I'm so excited to get into book 2. In this one, we are following Junior, and it says Junior knows Lauren is off limits. She is sweetness and laughter, whereas Junior exists in a world of violence and depravity. Men like him don't get to have women like her. It's why he pushed her away back in high school and why he's kept his distance ever since. But when Junior looks Lauren up online, he discovers the shy, bookish girl he remembers is gone. In her place is the strikingly beautiful woman whose social media is filled with scantily clad pictures of herself and a connection to a nearby players' club. Junior's innocent curiosity quickly turns into dark obsession. Watching Lauren from a distance isn't enough. He needs to make her his. Lauren is intrigued by the mystery man who keeps showing up at her club, who tempts her white-hot desires. But as their flirty online messages stir up a deeper form of connection, Lauren worries she's developing real feelings for this brooding stranger. As their combined desire ratchets up to a breaking point, who will seduce who? So these are a considered dark romance. They're generally more on the light dark side. Book 1 had a lot of humor in it. And I was just cracking up the whole time I was reading it. So I'm expecting this one to be pretty similar. I believe he rides a motorcycle, and I'm totally here for that. So yeah, really excited to check this book out. All right, let's hop into our next roll.
Roll 6. A 1. Oh no. All right, well, that's a kiss of death. So we have to move all the way back to the beginning and spin our spinner wheel.
Oh boy, guys. Okay, so our next roll got us a kiss of death space. We rolled a 1. So we're moving back to the beginning of the board, but also doing a spinner wheel pick. So let's spin the spinner wheel and see what we get. Ooh, okay, the Salacious Players Club. All right, so we are on to book 2, which is Eyes on Me. This is a series by Sarah Kate. I read book 1 a month or 2 ago and really liked it way more than I thought I was going to. So I'm really excited to continue this series. I'm going to have to pick up book 2. Just because when I bought book 1, it was like when all the hype on the bookternet was going on about it, and I was kind of like, I don't know. Normally, when books like this get overhyped, I don't like them. But I ended up loving it, so now I need to go pick up more of the books. But this one says, I'm a voyeur. It means I like to watch, and in my line of work, that's a gift. As one of the 4 owners of the Salacious Players Club, I'm comfortable on the sidelines. This is what I was made to do, and I work better alone. Until the day I stumble upon a certain cam girl app and find myself watching the one person I should never have watched, my stepsister. There are 3 big problems with this. 1, Mia and I can't stand each other. 2, she has no idea I'm the man on the other end of the video. And 3, I'm hooked on the app and on her. Now, Mia has me wanting and doing things I said I'd never do again, like opening up and getting attached. I'm falling for her, but she's falling for the mystery man I'm pretending to be. If I'm going to make this right, then I have to do more than just watch. But how far will I go to keep her eyes on me? Um, so I'm excited. I love the step sibling trope. I don't know why. I don't know what that says about me, but whatever. I like it. Whatever. Um, However, I don't really like when there's like lying involved behind it. Like if it's one thing like early on in the book and they come clean right away, I'm okay with that. But if they drag it out, that's when I start to get the ick about it. So we'll have to see what this one does. But I'm still intrigued, I'm interested, and I'm here for it. So yeah, can't wait to read this one either. Let's get into our next roll.
Roll 7. A 1. What on earth is happening? A mood read.
All right, so we rolled another 1, of course. We landed on an X prompt, and the prompt is a mood read. So obviously, this one is going to be whatever book I decide to pick up when the mood strikes. So I'm not going to pick one out right now, but this is something that I get to treat myself with sometime throughout the month of June. All right, next roll.
Roll 8. A 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. An O. Ends in odd page numbers.
All right, we rolled a 4. Finally making some progress because all these 1s and 2s are really, they're getting old, okay? We landed on an O prompt, and the prompt is a book that ends in odd page numbers. So for this prompt, I'm going to be reading All the Parts of the Soul by Catherine Burns. I got this edition from Twisted Retreat, and this book takes place in 1545 in a town that is kind of newly established as the center of Reformation. There's a new spiritual leader in town, but the city is ravaged by plague. Morale's really down. There's a lot of fear and suspicion. Rumors emerge from a nearby town about witchcraft. So the spiritual leader in town sends a young reclusive magistrate to investigate. So we're following Henry, who is our magistrate. He was orphaned by plague at the age of 12, and he's lived alone ever since. He's consumed by fear, and he just likes to stay at home and read his books, as one does. I get Henry. So now for the first time, he's kind of forced to go out into society and build friendships, possibly even a love connection with the local healer of this nearby village, Louise. She's kind and beautiful, but she skirts dangerously close to his investigation. I think there's something to do with like her soul starting to be taken. So it sounds like maybe possibly like a possession type of situation going on. So I'm really excited to check this out. Historical horror, again, doesn't always work for me, but I do love a possession story. So if that's where this is going, I'm probably here for it. And either way, it's only like 200 pages. It was 189 pages, actually, exactly, since this is ends an odd page numbers prompt. So I'm excited just to check it out, see what it's about, and it'll be a nice, easy one to get through like in an afternoon. All right, let's get into our next roll.
Roll 9. That is a 2. 1, 2. A fantasy or sci-fi.
All right, so our next roll was yet another 2. We landed on an X prompt, and the prompt is a fantasy or sci-fi. So for this prompt, I am going to be reading Endymion by Dan Simon. This is book 3 in the Hyperion Cantos series. This one takes place like 274 years after the events that happened in book 2. So, really big time skip here. But we're following Raoul, and he's sent out on a quest. And he's got kind of his like motley crew here. He's got his blue skinned android with him. He saves Ania from a church troop that's hunting her down because they stole an artifact. And then also the Shrike is continuing the adventure with them, which is interesting because that's kind of like a big, scary sort of character in the first 2 books. So I'm just really interested to see what goes on here. I know they're being pursued by a war priest and his troops. So this one sounds like it's going to be much more of like an epic space opera sort of adventure, where the first book was very much like a travel story, and book 2 kind of had some more adventure in it as well. But I don't know. I'm excited but also concerned. I loved book 1 so much, and then book 2 was such a letdown. So I'm just really kind of interested to see what my thoughts are going to be here. All right, let's hop into our next roll.
Roll 10. A 3. 1, 2, 3. An X. A YA book.
All right, we rolled a 3. Still not very high of a number, but at least it's not a 1 or 2. We landed on an X prompt, and the prompt is a YA book. For this one, I know exactly what I want to read. I put this off last month, and I guess I'm glad I did because it works perfectly for this prompt. And that is Watch Me by Tahara Mafi. This is book 1 of a like spin-off series to the Shatter Me series that she wrote. So this is book 1 in Shatter Me, The New Republic. Don't know how many books she's going to be writing in this series, but I loved the Shatter Me series so much. So I'm excited that we're getting more. These are kind of like a YA dystopian fantasy romance. They're young adult. They're generally like enemies to lovers sort of stories. So I'm assuming that's what this is too. It says James Anderson had a plan, or half of one. All that matters is he managed to do what his older brother, the famous Aaron Warren Anderson, never did: infiltrate Ark Island, the last refuge of the reestablishment. In the past decade, no outsider has breached the stronghold of the authoritarian regime, but James is in. In a prison cell, sure, but as far as James is concerned, a win is a win. It's been 10 years since the fall of the reestablishment, 10 years since the notorious duo Juliet Ferrars and Aaron Warren Anderson led a worldwide rebellion and established the new Republic of the West. But after a decade of unsettled quiet, the reestablishment is ready to make a devastating move, and they have the perfect person for the job. Rosabella Wolf has a plan. She always has a plan. On Ark Island, where constant surveillance is packaged as security, even emotions must be experienced with caution. A trained assassin, her every move is monitored by synthetic intelligence. And when she's given an order to kill, she never hesitates. Brimming with pulse-pounding action, the Tenacious romance, Watch Me is an explosive journey through a dystopian landscape where enemies to lovers has never felt more impossible. Step into a beloved and breathtaking world that demands an answer to a desperate question. Who are we when no one is watching? This just sounds so good. I have really been into dystopian fantasy romance lately. I just read The Kingdom of Fallen Ash, and that was also a dystopian setting, and I ate that up. So I'm really excited to check this book out, and especially considering how much I enjoyed the Shatter Me series. Getting to kind of continue on with that world, and hopefully we get little bits of those characters still. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. All right, let's get into our next roll.
Roll 11. Oh, thank God. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A heart. First book in a series.
Oh, guys, we got so lucky. All right, so we rolled a 5 that got us to the very last space on the board. So we could roll again, but it really doesn't matter. We're officially done. But we landed on a heart prompt, and the prompt is the first book in a series. There's a book that I've been meaning to get to because it's part of a Goodreads challenge and it conveniently fits this prompt perfectly, and that is The Shining by Stephen King. I feel like most people probably, if you're a fan of horror, know this story. Also, some people might not realize that this is a series, but it is. Doctor Sleep is book 2 of the series, and I believe there's like a prequel novella. Um, I won't read that. I don't really care. Y'all know how I feel about novellas anyway. But here we're following Jack at his new job at the Overlook Hotel, and it's the perfect chance for a fresh start. As the off-season caretaker at the atmospheric old hotel, he'll have plenty of time to spend reconnecting with his family and working on his writing. But as the harsh winter weather sets in, the idyllic location feels ever more remote and more sinister. And the only one to notice the strange and terrible forces gathering around Overlook is Danny, a uniquely gifted 5-year-old. I love a creepy kid in books. This one has thriller moments, horror moments, mystery moments. It's paranormal. It's everything. But I've never actually read it. So I'm excited to get in there, see what it's about, see how like close it is to the movie adaptation, and yeah, glad I was able to fit this book in because it's one that I've been meaning to get to the last couple months and just haven't made time for. So yeah, that being said, that is officially the end of our TBR game picks. There's definitely some other things I am going to be reading this month. We have the Love and Horror Book Club pick for the month, which is Beautiful Venom by Rena Kent. This one is a dark hockey romance, and it is set in a new world. It's not part of like the Renaverse. The synopsis says, "They shattered my world. Now I'll bring down theirs. The problem, I have virtually no way to trace the puppet master. My only lead, the Vipers, an elite college hockey team that rules the ice and the shadows beyond it. To infiltrate their secret society, I set my sights on the weakest link, Kane Davenport, a charismatic captain and a lone green flag in a nest of serpents. But it's too late. I've realized I've enticed the most venomous snake. Kane's friendly facade hides a predator more dangerous than I imagined. He quickly unveils the monster lurking beneath the surface, a monster who lured me only to trap me in a lethal game with no escape." I'm still fairly new to the sports romance genre, but I am excited to give this one a try. I've really liked a lot of her other books that in fact, every other book that I've read by her, I've really enjoyed. So excited to get to this one, check it out, see what it's about. I haven't heard a ton of people talking about it yet. So yeah, super excited to see what's going on here. This one just released on May 27th. So it is a new release. And yeah, cannot wait. I will also be reading a decent chunk of the Fallen Men series by Gianna Darling for a series knockout video. So I have that going on as well. There's another Goodreads challenge book I'd like to try to get to if I have time, which is The Return of Ellie Black by Miko Jean. This one is following Detective Kelsey Calhoun, whose life is turned upside down when she gets a call that Ellie Black, a girl who disappeared years earlier, has resurfaced in the woods of Washington state. But Ellie's reappearance leaves Chelsea with more questions than answers. It's been 20 years since Detective Chelsea Calhoun's sister vanished when they were teenagers. Ever since, she's been searching for signs, for closure, for other missing girls, but happy endings are rare in Chelsea's line of work. Then a glimmer. Local teenager Ellie Black, who disappeared without a trace 2 years earlier, has been found alive in the woods of Washington state. But something's not right with Ellie. She won't say where she's been or who she's protecting, and it's up to Chelsea to find answers. She needs to get to the bottom of what happened to Ellie, for herself and for the memory of her sister, but mostly for the next girl who could be taken, and who, unlike Ellie, might never return. This is a debut thriller from this author, and it just sounds super suspenseful. I do occasionally enjoy a good crime thriller. I don't read a ton of them, but when I do, I generally enjoy them. So maybe I should pick up more. But yeah, this is another one that I want to try to get to this month. We'll see if I have time. We have a whole lot going on. So yeah, that being said, that is my TBR for the month of June. I can't wait to check all of these out. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books already and enjoyed them, or if there's any upcoming books in June that you think I should check out. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Give the video a thumbs up on your way out, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.